Okay, 2.1, multi-step equations with reciprocals. Again, reciprocals are fractions that are flipped. Okay, does anybody really know what, like in mathematical, what's going on with reciprocals? It's actually a multiplication identity. Okay? When you multiply a fraction and or a whole number is a fraction, right? Because you put it over 1. When you multiply by the reciprocal, you get the multiplication identity, which is the number 1. All you guys have to worry about is that you flip the fraction. That's the reciprocal. So in this section, we're going to work with multi-step equations, and we are eventually going to get to a fractional coefficient where you're going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal. Now, I have talked about this before in the past. So if you know how to do this, by all means, go ahead and help yourselves to the worksheet. The others, please follow along. All right, number 1. I have the x that's locked in my numerator, so what am I going to do to both sides? This is review. That's right, multiply by the denominator, which is 9, or 9 over 1. And I get, 9's cancel, I get my numerator, which is x minus 15 equals negative 54. Add 15 to both sides. Now, again, if you're still having problems with adding stuff on the same side of equations, by all means, put your dotted line there, or a solid line, I don't care. These add up to 0. My x equals negative 54 plus 15. My brain's not working too good. What am I doing here? 39? Negative 39? Again, 1 through 5 is kind of like review for you guys. Let's do number 5. A little bit different, not much. What am I going to do first? Yeah, I have to get rid of the 5 first. I'm going to multiply both sides by the denominator 5, or 5 over 1. My 5's cancel to 1. 1 times the numerator is just my numerator. 3x minus 7 equals 16 times 5. That's right, 80.
And add 7, you get 87. And then divide 3, you get...
Add 7 to both sides. These add up to 0. 3x equals 87. Divide by 3. What do you get, Dewey? 29. Okay, number 6 is a little different, only because we have a number that's outside our fractional term. Here's my fractional term. So the first thing I have to do to get the fractional term by itself is, that's right, add 6 to both sides. I get u over 8 equals 17. Now don't forget, you could think of this in two ways. There's a 1 in front of the u, right? There's the number 1 in front of the u. So I can multiply this by the reciprocal of 1/8 with it, which is just 8 over 1, or 8.
136.
My 8's cancel the 1. 1 times u is just u. 17 times 8 is what?
136. 136.
Good, guys. Yeah, Joey. Okay, I want to get my numerator by itself first. Okay, because my x is locked in here, I want to get rid of my denominator. There are other ways of doing this. This is just kind of the easiest way. Okay, so I want to get rid of my denominator, and I do that. All of these cancel the 1, so I get 1 times my numerator. I distribute the 1. Okay, and I get just what's inside, or just the numerator, which is 3x minus 7. But whatever I do to the left-hand side, don't forget I have to do to the right-hand side. So now I have to take 16 times 5, which is 80. Now I got to solve for x. So that's where all this other stuff comes in. Okay? How about number 7? Number 7 is a good one. Negative 2/7 times x. Now, my negative 2/7 is the coefficient of x. And if you know the shortcut, or the kind of like the little secret, it's not a secret anymore because this section is called solving multi-step equations using reciprocals. So what am I going to multiply both sides of the equation? By the reciprocal. Yeah, instead of, what it does is it's doing both steps at once. It's going to multiply, think of it as multiplying both sides by 7, then dividing by negative 2. So the shortcut is, well, just multiply by the reciprocal. Negative 7/2. Okay? And what happens is, all of these cancel the 1, even the negative signs cancel, and I get x on the left-hand side. Now, 14 times negative 7/2. What is it? Minus 49? Does everybody know how to put fractions in their calculators?
No, obviously not.
Here's my calculator. Okay, I'm going to take 14. I'm going to multiply it by the fraction, negative 7 divided by 2. Please put fractions in parentheses. Hit enter. I get negative 49. If I would have gotten a decimal, just hit math, enter, enter. It will give you the fraction. Or at this stage of your mathematical lives, I will accept the decimal. What? How about number 9? Whenever I have x, just one term in my numerator, I got the coefficient 5. Since this is multiplication, I can actually think of this x as being outside of my numerator. In other words, negative 12 equals 5/8 times x. I can do that because that's the only term on there. If I had a plus 6 or something in the numerator, I wouldn't be able to do that. Okay, now I'm back to having a fractional coefficient. I'm going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal, which is 8/5. These all cancel the 1. I get x on the right-hand side. I have to multiply negative 12 by 8/5. And I'm probably going to get a decimal and fraction. 19.2? Negative 19.2, right? And if I wanted to please my Algebra 1 teacher, which you sometimes might do, what is it as a fraction? How could I find out? Hit math, enter. So I have negative 19.2. Hit math, enter. 96/5. What did I get? What? Number 6, I got 136. All right, some word problems here, which I think I had a couple on the test, and you guys really did not do too well on. The sum. What's the sum? What does the word sum mean? That's right, add. Of 3/5 x. So here's 3/5 x, and I'm going to add them. And 2 is the same as. What's the is the same as? What is it? Equals. Right. Equals 8. And it says to solve it. So I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. These add up to 0. I get my 3/5 x equals 6. Multiplied by the reciprocal. 5/3. All these cancel the 1. I get my x. And I have to multiply this side by the 5/3. And when you put it in your handy-dandy calculators, you get 10. What's the quotient mean? Divide. You guys can do 16. Okay, page 2. Just be careful with these problems. Some of them are locked in the numerator, like 24, so you're going to have to multiply both sides by -5 first. Some of them are just by themselves as a term with a fractional coefficient. So here you would subtract 12 first, then multiply by the reciprocal 3/5. Now, the next section here, we're trying to get you guys ready for some factoring. Okay? And one of the methods that we teach you is the diamond method. You probably learned this last year over and over and over again. You'll probably, by the time you get through Algebra 2, do probably 1,000 problems. Okay? What this does is it kind of sets you up for factoring. 30 is think of it this way. You want two numbers being multiplied to get 30, and at the same time add up to negative 13. Okay, well, let's think about this for a minute. I have positive 30. If I'm going to add them up to a negative number, they have to be two negative numbers. All right? So this one's negative, and this one's negative. Negative 10 and negative 3. See, it's not that hard. Okay, 32, two numbers that multiply to negative 24. The only way I can get a negative number by multiplication, one has to be positive and one has to be negative. Two numbers that multiply to negative 24, 4 and 6. The 4 has to be positive because the 6 has to be greater than 4 to get the negative 2. Did I confuse you? No. You good? And 35 through 37 is just using the distributive property. Again, some more practice for you guys for factoring. Remember, are there any negatives here? No. Distribute over the parentheses. Okay, 3 times 2x, 6x, plus 3, plus 5 times 1x, plus 5x, 5 times a minus 2, negative 10. Please combine your like terms. 6x and 5x is 11x. Positive 3. Very good, Dewey.
Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Hope you
Yeah, let's just finish pages 1 and 2 for now.